Good morning. Another beautiful day in God's kingdom. For today and maybe the next few days, we're going to be taking a look at a character in the Bible that I'm not sure you've heard too much about. Perhaps at Christmas time, you come across one or two of, one or two prophecies or quotations from his book, but he's not somebody that you hear too much about. And that is the person of Micah, a prophet of God. And the Bible denotes him as a prophet, and we're going to see that he gave a lot of prophecies in the Bible. So we're in the book of Micah. Let's read from chapter 1 and verse 1. This is what it says. The word of the Lord that came to Micah of Moresheth in the days of Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah, which he saw concerning Samaria and Jerusalem. Okay, so let's stop there for now. Now, what is it that we find about this man? Micah identifies himself. He says he is Micah of Moresheth. Another place I saw says he was Micah of Moresheth Gath, a place that was far from the center, far from the from the action, if you want to call it the center of action, attraction, and all of that, from the capital. But he lived in a small place, a small town, agricultural place, and yet in the midst of, in that small place, God called him out. And another thing that I find interesting is that, when he mentions the kings, Hezekiah and all of these kings, that means he lived and he prophesied in the same timeline of prophets like Isaiah, who you've heard so much about. Isaiah, Hosea, Amos. These were his contemporaries. And these were people, that were prophesying big prophecies, going to kings and, making all of these declarations, particularly when you talk about Isaiah and so on and so forth. Yet, even though those were the big people, those were the ones that everybody knew, the prophets that everybody knew, there was still this Micah in this small town, in this small place where he was, being still used by God, regardless of his location. And that is a word of encouragement for you and I, isn't it? That it doesn't matter where you are, as long as God has placed a call upon your life, you just keep on doing what God has called you to do. You don't have to have a platform. You don't have to have a Twitter account with 100 million people following you, or I mentioned something, but anyway, you don't have to have any of these social media accounts or whatever. You don't even have to have a microphone in front of you. You don't have to have anything, but you just keep doing what it is that God has called you to do. Because in that place where he was, God was giving him prophetic words that we're seeing, that we see fulfilled in the life of Jesus hundreds of years later. And that was because he stayed faithful in the place where he was. He didn't look at the fact that, yep, oh, God's got all these big prophets and all of these big ones and these big names doing all of these big things. I'm just going to be here, hide myself away or whatever. He just kept on doing what it was that God called him to do, and he was faithful in that thing. So I don't know what it is that you're feeling right now. Maybe you feel like you've been forgotten, neglected, nobody notices you, nobody even admires you, or nobody acknowledges you, sorry, in any way, shape, or form. Remember this: God knows you, God called you, and you are important in God's own timeline. Have a beautiful day. God bless you.